One naval battle in a largely forgotten war changed the course of history forever. However, today very few people know about this war, and even less know about the pivotal naval battle. This battle marked a monumentous historical first in modern history. A non-European power beat a European power in a naval battle. On today's episode of Bet You Didn't Know History, we're covering it. Let's go back in time over a century and travel to the Far East. Japan and Russia are fighting the Russo-Japanese War. The stakes of this conflict are incredibly high. A Japanese victory will show Japan as the dominant power in the Far East and force Russia to abandon its expansion into the region, while a Russian victory will let the expansion continue. In late 1904, the war was going quite poorly for the Russian Empire, which had lost many key battles. In an attempt to change the tide of the war, the Russian military dispatched their Baltic fleet on an 18,000 nautical mile journey to their eastern shore. The Baltic fleet's goal was to try and link up with the naval squadrons based out of the Russian cities of Vladivostok and Port Arthur. Together, they would attempt to defeat the Japanese Navy, once and for all. These squadrons, based out of Vladivostok and Port Arthur, had been making attacks on Japanese ships with varying degrees of success. The Russians hoped that with the help of the Baltic fleet, they could swiftly decimate the Japanese Navy, winning them the war. After a 7-month journey, the Baltic fleet, under the command of Zinovy Petrovich Rozhestvensky, was within a few hundred miles of Vladivostok. However, the Russians were unaware that the Japanese ships under the command of Togo Haihachiro were in the Tsushima Straits, ready to attack. On May 27th, the Japanese attacked the Russian fleet. The Japanese ships, with superior speed, armament, and well-trained crews, easily defeated the older and less maneuverable Russian ships with their poorly trained crews. Over the course of 2 days, 2/3 of the Russian fleet was sunk. 6 ships were captured, 6 took refuge in neutral ports, and only 4 managed to make it to Vladivostok. If the Russians were to have won the Battle of Tsushima, they could have crippled the Japanese Navy. This would have likely won them the war, leading to greater Russian expansion and influence in the region. However, this battle was lost, and thus the war. The loss of the Russo-Japanese War not only led to Russia ending its expansion in the Far East, but also helped foster distrust for the Tsarist regime among the Russian populace. People began rioting in the streets, workers went on strike, and military mutinies began, due largely to the loss of the war. This civil unrest would eventually lead to the Revolution of 1905. While this revolution was unsuccessful, it would inspire the Russian people to attempt another. In 1917, the Communist Red Army rebelled and successfully overthrew the Tsarist regime, changing the course of history forever. The victorious Japanese not only gained territory, but also gained confidence, as they had defeated the Russian Empire in battle. Japan's victory in the Battle of Tsushima officially made them the first non-European power in modern history to win a battle against a European power. With newfound confidence, the Japanese Empire would continue to expand throughout East Asia and the Pacific. Eventually, the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, hoping to become the undisputed rulers of the Pacific. This caused the US to enter World War II and ultimately win, putting an end to the Japanese Empire and its expansion. Bet you didn't know that.